What's going on, guys? We're coming to you live with another game of Star Wars Unlimited here on Twitch using Tabletop Simulator, and there's been a big aesthetic update to the mod that should hopefully make things a lot clearer here. We're starting off with this is going to be Trax on the right side and Thorrk on the left. Trax playing a double blue Luke Skywalker deck. So Luke has an action where you can spend one resource in Exhaustion to give a shield to a heroic unit you played this phase. And Thorrk is playing Sabine Wren, one of the most aggro heroes in the game, able to deploy at only 4 resources on the board, and with this ability damaging each base. So we will have to see how this goes. Trax played R2D2 to lead off, 1/4. When played around attack, you can lead your top card and choose whether to put it on the bottom. And Thorrk played Sabine Wren Explosives Artist, a 2-cost 2/3 that can deal 1 damage to the defender or to a base on attack. Additionally, Trax used Luke's ability to give R2 a shield, and Thorrk damaged both bases with Sabine, so we're going to have to see how this goes. So double blue for Trax, that's a loadout that it's a very defensive sort of loadout, so we're going to have to see if this defensive setup is what Trax needs to weather the aggro storm here from Sabine. He plays a copy of Entrenched, a upgrade that gives a unit +3/+3, but it cannot attack bases. So this upgraded R2D2, now a 4/8. Thorrk plays a wing leader, giving Sabine +2/+2 with 2 experience tokens and giving him a small ship on the field. R2 attacks into Sabine, inflicting 4 damage. So she has 1 life remaining, and he takes no damage at all thanks to his shield. Trax looks at that top card, and now it's going to be Thork's turn here. Thork swings to the base, so 4 damage from Sabine, who is strength 2 and has 2 experience tokens, and an additional 1 from the ability for 5 total damage. Then 1 damage to each base from Sabine's ability. So Thork is opening up an early life lead, as you want to do with a aggro deck like Sabine. And we're going to see what happens here. Trax did claim the initiative, though, so will potentially have the opportunity to take down Sabine before she does anything with an attack from R2. Is that what we're going to see here? It is. R2 defeats Sabine, taking 4 damage in the process, but still having 3 life remaining thanks to that entrenched upgrade. And Trax looks at the top card, and I believe put it back on top, but I'm not sure. Thorrk is undaunted, playing another copy of Sabine Wren here. A strong small unit, and Trax now thinking about the response. Going to be a Vigilance. Vigilance will kill that copy of Sabine Wren. So choose to discard 6 cards from an opponent's deck, heal 5 damage from a base, defeat a unit with 3 or less life, or give a shield. And Trax chooses to defeat that Sabine and heal 5 damage from the base. 2 resources being spent now for a Rebel Pathfinder, 2-cost 2/3 with Saboteur. When this unit attacks, ignore Sentinel and defeat the defender's shields. And now I think we are going to see Sabine Wren deploy onto the field the leader, and that is exactly what we see. So Sabine is the weakest leader in the game at only 2/5, but on attack she does deal 1 damage to each enemy base. Also, to be fair, she's the weakest leader in the game that we know so far. It's quite possible that there will be a weaker leader later, but attacks from Sabine and the wing leader inflict a total of 5 damage, making up for the 5 life that was repaired that Vigilance. Okay. We now see Vigilant Honor Guards being played. That is a... Oops, the wrong thing there. Sorry about that, guys. That is a 4/5. While this unit is undamaged against Sentinel, so will act as a blocker here. They have got a Defiant Princess being played out to cost 2/2 when played either ready a resource or exhausting unit is used to exhaust the entrenched copy of R2D2 there. And I think there is going to be a fair chunk of damage going through now to the base. 2 there, and the Rebel Pathfinder can sneak through the defenses, perhaps? Trax has claimed the initiative. I think Thorrk is just figuring out how to go about this. Another wing leader being played, buffing someone. Trax is in a bit of trouble here, I do think, but we have Luke ready to deploy next turn. The Vigilant Honor Guard can't stop the Rebel Pathfinder who has Saboteur, allowing them to sneak past Sentinels, but can, in principle, stop Sabine here. The extra stats going to the Pathfinder. Saboteur allows the Pathfinder to attack the base for 4 without being stopped by the Sentinel. And then will Sabine attack the Honor Guard? No. So the Honor Guard standing strong. And that Pathfinder is now also out of range of an attack from R2, with R2 having only 4 attack and the Pathfinder having 5 total defense, thanks to the experience token there. Or the experience counters, I believe, tokens. Fleet Lieutenant. When played, you may attack with a unit. If it's a rebel unit, it gets +2/+0. R2 attacks with +2, allowing a trade for the Pathfinder after all. Looking at that top card, and it is going to be set to the bottom of the deck. Leia attacks the Vigilant Honor Guard and is defeated, but the damage on the Vigilant Honor Guard means that it no longer has Sentinel. I do think we're going to see Luke Skywalker deploying. Although we might see that restored arc come out and get shielded first. Yeah, I think the most efficient line here. Okay, the Vigilant Honor Guard attacks into Sabine, inflicting 4 damage, but she's still alive with 1 life left. Another wing leader. Sabine buffed. Luke takes the field, but that Leia Organa Defiant Princess in hand is, I think, going to come out to exhaust him, and that's exactly right. So that means that Trax can play the restored arc, but isn't going to be able to shield it. It might have been more efficient to play the restored arc first and use Luke's leader ability to shield before deploying, but wasn't possible. Now there's going to be a fair chunk of damage incoming, I believe. So there's Sabine can do 5 damage to the base, and then there's going to be 4 more from the wing leaders. So that is, yeah, these wing leaders are whittling him down. Now, the good news for Trax is that he does have the initiative. Could lead this turn off with a. So he could lead this turn off by having Luke defeat Sabine and shield his restored arc. That might be a strong play here. He also the system patrolcraft in hand is a really critical play this turn. Interestingly, Thorrk does have a copy of Han Solo in hand. So Han Solo, reluctant hero, threatening to, if Luke kills Sabine, Han can come in and kill Luke. So it'll actually be better for Trax if he uses a different unit, but he doesn't. Luke takes down Sabine and is going to shield something. It's going to be the Vigilant Honor Guards. Okay, that makes sense. That way Leia can't attack into the Vigilant Honor Guard to defeat them. Okay. Leia hits base for 2. I don't know why she was removed. Yeah, okay. So the system patrolcraft on the field now actually a big obstacle for these wing leaders. At 3-4, the system patrolcraft can defeat the system patrolcraft can defeat 2 of these wing leaders in exchange for its own life. And the restored arc can wipe out another wing leader, which will leave Trax in control of the space arena. The restored arcs restore 1 also does heal a critical point of damage from the base. System patrolcraft picked off. Oh man. Yoda being deployed. Restore 2 there might be quite relevant, as well as the potential card draw. Oh, Thorrk brings out Han defeating Luke. But the problem with Han is the Vigilant Honor Guards and the Fleet Lieutenant can now both attack him and actually take him out. And the Vigilant Honor Guard will even be still alive thanks to the shield. And that indeed looks to be like the tactic that Trax has selected. The Vigilant Honor Guard hits Han for 4. And now the Fleet Lieutenant probably going to attack into, yeah, Thork takes the initiative and the Fleet Lieutenant trades with Han. So the system patrolcraft was a critical card there, taking out 2 of those wing leaders that Thork had on the field, and now it's a tough looking situation for Thork. Trax has the card advantage and is in a position where he can potentially restore a good deal of the damage done to his base thanks to Yoda's Restore 2, as well as the Restore 1 from the restored Arc 170. So Thork needs to get some aggressive stuff going fast and is at a card disadvantage. Let's see if he can do it. Now, Leia can attack into the Vigilant Honor Guard. Oh, no, Leia's going to attack the base. Okay. Maybe trying to just push as much damage through as possible. Obi-Wan Kenobi hits the field. Strong unit. When defeated, give 2 experience tokens to another friendly unit. If it's a force unit, draw a card. Oh, maybe that's his plan. If he can stall the game long enough using Sabine's ability to deal 1 damage to each base. But the problem is the restore that's active on the other side of the board means that even with 1 damage to each base from Sabine, Trax is actually gaining life. Ezra hits the field, 3-4. When this unit completes an attack, look at the top card of your deck. You may play it, discard it, or leave it on top of your deck. The wounded Vigilant Honor Guards trade with Ezra, and then we see the rogue operative on field, another saboteur that could sneak through to defeat Yoda or to put more damage on the rebel base, but Trax decides to take the initiative, allowing him to defeat that rogue operative quickly. However, Thork has drawn the Millennium Falcon, super relevant in the space arena, and the problem is there's some removal in Trax's hand that can defeat it as soon as it comes in, and that might honestly be the game. The restore here for Trax is going to be, I think, pretty overwhelming. Thork. Thork using Sabine's ability. That does also kind of stall the game here, 1 damage to each player. Restored Arc hits the base for 2, healing 1. Millennium Falcon now being played. Very strong unit, but it's going to get hit by Takedown here. Yeah, Takedown, 4 cost, defeat a unit with 5 or less remaining hit points. Falcon is defeated. The smuggling compartment in hand is not going to get a chance to be played here with no units to attach to. Thorrk is in big trouble. That might honestly be the game. Yoda hitting the base and restoring. These restore effects are quite potent against an aggressive build like the one Thorrk is using. C3PO, when played, choose a number. The guess is 4, and it looks like that is not a 4. Thork playing Mace Windu. When this unit attacks and defeats a unit, ready him. Defeats Obi-Wan and readies. Obi-Wan's ability gives 2 experience tokens to another friendly unit. If it's a Force unit, draw a card. So the experience to Yoda does draw a card. And now we could easily just see another copy of Takedown being played to defeat Mace Windu. Oh, there's another Obi-Wan. Oh man. Thork is Thork is in dire straits here. I think this one's all but over. With those restore effects, his Sabine ability isn't even giving him inevitability, and that Obi-Wan dying buffed the Yoda and gave a card draw. It's really going to be difficult here for Thork to come back, I think. But if he makes it, it'll be a great situation. Obi-Wan hitting Thor or Yoda hitting Thork's base for 4, repairing Trax's base for 2. Luke didn't stick around that long in this game, but yeah, and it looks like Thork is going to concede at this point. There's really just not much left to do. And I think this is a matchup that quite favors Trax. So a in Star Wars Unlimited Blue, which is Vigilance, is the aspect that it kind of favors defensive gameplay. And in that situation, the defense that Trax had available from his double blue was able to stabilize and then start healing out of the pressure that had been put on him by Thork's very aggro, uh, cunning Sabine deck. Looks like the players are going for a rematch, so I'll keep streaming here. Yeah, zoom in a bit. Okay, Sabine, the opening plays here, we have a Rebel Pathfinder for Trax and Sabine for Thork. Then Sabine's ability being used, 1 damage to each player, Trax with the initiative. We'll see how things progress. Oh, a Wing Leader play might be nice there. So this card, Wing Leader, is one of the strongest turn two plays. You play this and give 2 experience tokens to your turn one unit. It often puts you in quite a good spot, as we see here. Ooh, but there's a counter. Fleet Lieutenant being used. When played, you may attack with a unit. If it's a rebel unit, it gets +2/+0. That's enough to allow Sabine to defeat the Pathfinder. So Sabine only has 2 attack, but her on attack ability deals an additional 1. So it ends up being a trade, and probably a favorable trade for Thorrk. Trax claims the initiative. Thorrk uses the ability for 1 damage to each base. Yeah, so in this situation, the Wing Leader is a weaker unit than the Fleet Lieutenant. The Wing Leader does maybe, in space being a little bit weaker, maybe not as bad as it is on the in the ground arena. And so now we're going to see how things continue. I think that copy of Yoda might see play, or he might. There's a 4th resource here that is very slightly out of shot. I'll move down a little bit. Yoda being played. 3 cost 2/4, restore 2, and defeated choose any number of players. They each draw a card. Open fire. 4 damage to a unit, defeating Yoda before Trax can put a shield on him with Luke's leader ability. But Yoda's ability allows Trax to draw a card, and Trax then plays R2D2. Fleet Lieutenant hitting Trax's base for 3 damage, and the Wing Leader swinging in for 2 damage to Thork's base. Sabine's ability used for 1 damage to each base, and Trax claims the initiative. Sabine ran then on the field, swinging for the base, 2 ability and 2 damage, and then 1 more damage from the on attack ability. So this is the aggressive power of Sabine Wren, the leader. A leader that deploys on the 3rd turn under normal conditions is very strong. Just in terms of pushing more damage through onto the base. However, Trax has had some pretty good stuff. The problem that Trax has now is not having good ground units. Ooh, a takedown for Sabine. So takedown is defeat a unit that has 5 or fewer HP remaining, and Sabine only has 5 life. So takedown is a very natural counter to Sabine. Okay. However, it did use 4 of Trax's resources, and there aren't resources to make another play this turn. So we'll have to see what the move is going to be. I think it's very likely that we just see R2D2 and the Wing Leader attacking Thork's base. Thork can hit Trax's base with his Fleet Lieutenant, and perhaps also bring out the Millennium Falcon and start pushing further. We'll have to see how this goes. Yeah, Fleet Lieutenant into the base for 3. R2D2 swings in for 1. So R2D2, every time you attack with him, you get to do that same effect that you get when you play him, looking at the top card and choosing whether to put it on top or bottom. Ezra Bridger being played, 3 cost 3/4. When this unit completes an attack, look at the top card of your deck. You may play it, discard it, or leave it on top of the deck. Oh, looks like actually he's decided maybe not. Maybe not. No, it is going to be Ezra after all. Wing Leader swings in, 2 damage there. And Thorpe takes the initiative. Hasn't had the initiative much this game, but finally takes it and could be quite relevant. This is the turn where we will see Luke Skywalker deploying by default. And with 5 cards there in hand for each player before resourcing decisions, we'll have to see how this goes. And Trax has hit Obi-Wan Kenobi, the card that was causing Thork so much trouble in that endgame last time. Difficult calls here. Ends up resourcing Keenan. And yeah, I think that makes sense. So I think it's very likely we're going to see. So Thork can mount some kind of attack now, probably just sending one of his units to the base, probably Ezra because of his useful ability. That's exactly what we see. When this unit completes an attack, look at the top card of your deck. You may play it, discard it, or leave it on top, and he's going to play it. It is a rogue operative. That's a nice card advantage and another strong unit there, deployed by Thorrk. There are 3 resources left, and Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan Kenobi, but he gets waylaid. Return non-leader unit to its owner's hand. Now, the plus side of this is it does mean that it does mean that there is no longer any resources floating for Thorrk. So Thorrk could normally use this Leia Organa Defiant Princess to exhaust Luke Skywalker once he's deployed. But in this case, that isn't going to be a possible option because the resources were spent to deploy that rogue operative. So now we probably see Luke take down one of the units there. I suspect the rogue operative, who's very dangerous on offense, and the shield token given to R2D2, interestingly. I think, well, I guess maybe I might have given that to the wing leader, but yeah. And I think that's going to be it for the turn, except R2 can still attack. So if Thorrk takes the initiative here, which seems very likely since he has no other plays, then we are going to see R2D2 probably attacking. Yeah, Thorrk takes the initiative. R2D2 hits Thork's base, looks at that top card, and that filtering may be providing some value for trax. Additionally, the wing leader goes in for another 2 damage to the base, and that's going to do it for the turn. Okay. It's looking so this is the time when Thork needs to try and push through to close stuff out before trax can stabilize. Ooh, Mace Windu on the field defeating Luke Skywalker. When this unit attacks and defeats a unit, ready him. So Mace Windu takes down Luke and readies up. Will be able to attack into Luke's defenses there. I think it's very likely that we see Obi-Wan. Oh no, it's not Obi-Wan, it's Vigilance. Choose 2 in any order, discard 6 cards from opponent's deck, heal 5 damage from base, defeat a unit with 3 or less remaining HP, or give a shield to a unit. In this case, Windu is defeated, and it's 5 healing to the base. Pretty strong effect. And now we see a wing leader, probably giving experience to R2. The fleet lieutenant hit the base for 3. Ezra hits the base for 3. R2 now can oh no. Wow. That's really surprising to me. I would have assumed that R2 would have gone for the fleet lieutenant there to try and stabilize the field, but Trax instead pushes some more damage to Thork's base. And now at 10-15, 10-15 from Sabine's ability. Could take the initiative here, could swing with the wing leader. He ends up taking the initiative. Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested that he didn't have R2 defeat the fleet lieutenant there, because it seems like in this situation he is the one that's trying to clear the board and stabilize rather than trying to race his opponent. However, we will have to see how it pans out. There's a Han Solo in hand for Thorrk. Fleet Lieutenant and R2 hits the base. I'm so surprised by this. Trax is trying to race. He's not trying to stabilize, and he might just be able to do it. He has another vigilance in hand. Ezra hitting Trax's base. Ooh, and an asteroid sanctuary off of Ezra's ability. Exhaust an enemy unit, give a shield token to a friendly unit that costs 3 or less. Shield token on Ezra Bridger. Now we're going to see Vigilance being played almost for sure. That's exactly right. Vigilance defeating the Fleet Lieutenant and healing Trax's base for 5. What a scenario. Leia appears. Leia Organa Defiant Princess exhausts the other wing leader, and Luke's ability used to shield the fleet lieutenant. A rogue operative hits the field, and then initiative claimed by Thorrk or by Trax, 1 damage to each base. What a crazy scenario. Yeah, Trax is pushing to try and Trax is pushing here to try and close out the game in a race rather than going for a more defensive and stability oriented playstyle. His he could he has lethal on board. He has 10 damage right there. But he's going to play out a Vigilant Honor Guard, or no, I'm sorry, a Cloud City Wingguard instead. Cloud City Wingguard 2/4 with Sentinel is going to be a bit of a barrier to Trax's attacks here. There is, I think he does have 6 resources remaining. The resources have kind of gone off the board here. Um, and I think that does mean he could play the Obi-Wan Kenobi that's in hand as well. So we'll have to see how Thorrk deals with this situation. Trax also does have lethal on board if all his units get a chance to attack Thork's base. Looks like Thork was potentially selecting 7 resources there for Han Solo to take down that Cloud City Wingguard and stay on the field as a dangerous unit. No, he's going to go for a smaller play. It's going to be the Waylay. Waylay coming out. Return a non-leader unit to its owner's hand. Waylay in R2. Okay, so the R2 had a shield and 2 experience tokens. Those are all lost now. That does kind of make sense. But it does mean that the Waylay has now been expended and Obi-Wan can hit the field. Yeah, there's Obi-Wan Kenobi. These are some strong Sentinel defenses here uh, for Trax, though this rogue operative can sneak through the lines with Saboteur. We do also see Leia not relevant at this phase with her ability, but Ezra's ability could lead to another card potentially being played. The rogue operative sneaks through the defenses to defeat the fleet lieutenant. With Saboteur, when this unit attacks, ignore Sentinel and defeat the defender's shield. So the shielded fleet lieutenant was not able to survive against the rogue operative despite 2 Sentinels. A wing leader hits for 2 damage. And then we see 2 experience tokens for Ezra. Another wing leader hitting for 2 damage from Trax. Thorrk down to just 5 life. Ezra now hitting for 5, takes down the Cloud City Wingguard, losing his shield. Looks at the top card of his deck, and it's an Asteroid Sanctuary, which he can play from the top and does, giving a shield to the rogue operative. The exhaust part isn't relevant, but giving the shield token is still some value. He's mulling over whether to give the shield to Ezra or to the rogue operative. The rogue operative is more maybe annoying. He's considering giving it to Leia? No, I don't think that's great. Yeah, it does end up being the rogue operative. Probably initiative claimed here by Trax. Shield ends up going to Ezra. Initiative claimed by Trax. If Obi-Wan hits, if Obi-Wan hits Thork's base here, Trax will be in a winning position with his wing leaders. I don't think Thork has a response if Obi-Wan hits the base there. Down to 1 life. With the 2 wing leaders there, I don't think he has an out. Yeah, so he could Asteroid Sanctuary to exhaust one of the wing leaders. He could take it out with his own wing leader. He could defeat Obi-Wan with a surprise strike or with Han. But with only one life and two readied wing leaders in position, I don't think Thorrk is making it out of this situation. He activates Sabine to self-destruct his base and do a defiant last point of damage to Trax. Ah, what a scenario. That was a close one. I think that game had a more exciting finale than I had realized with the I think that I think Trax could have I think Trax could have potentially I think Trax could have potentially had a victory with a higher margin if he had gone for stabilizing and clearing the board instead of racing, but I could be wrong. Maybe going for stabilizing the board just gives the opponent more. And we see in the resource section there's 3 copies of entrenched all resource. That's pretty funny. Yeah, so the ultimately Trax's Vigilance Luke deck successfully holds off Thork's aggressive play. And I do think that's kind of the strength of vigilance. I think it's a good I think it's very efficient at defending, keeping you alive. We saw those copies of Vigilance, the card being played to remove units and do substantial healing. Um, very, very interesting gameplay. All right, it sounds like these players are going to break things off here, so that's going to do it for this stream. Two quick games of Star Wars Unlimited with ultimately Vigilance successfully holding off some aggressive gameplay. All right, I think that's gonna about do it for this stream, guys. Thanks for watching. First stream with the new and improved Tabletop Simulator loadout for the mod here. Just the physical layout of the mod has been improved and I think looks a lot better than it did previously. So, hopefully we'll be seeing some new cards previewed and I'll be bringing you guys some new games. Thanks to you all for watching and we will be back later with some more Star Wars Unlimited content. Catch you guys later.